are familiar with the proposal, we are always looking for support, either one.
Right.
We're always looking for support. If you know our proposal and what it is that we're going in to speak with them about, then yes, we are more than happy to have people come along with us. I think that answered the question.
Right.
Gaylissa said, hello all.
Hi. Who is it?
I think you say her name Gaylissa.
I pronounced it wrong.
Jerry said yes.
Yeah.
Have you read our proposal, Jerry? Yet?
If not, if he
Bobby Joe
inboxes,
said hey.
if he inboxes us his email, I'll make sure one of us sends it to him or her. I mean him.
No, I'm not saying her name right. I'm sorry.
It's her, not me. Galicia. I think it's Galicia, isn't it? I think it's with the G.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see an H though.
Oh.
Gaylissa.
Okay. Well, I was kind of close. Just consider the source. I'm old.
Okay. So when we did go to the legislative day on the 21st, we had a lot of people that went with us in support of our proposal. And he said he just got our link. How will your proposal help old law guys, and will it be retro?
That's all it will be is retro.
Yeah. Rebecca said I read it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's explain how, if we get this introduced and passed, it's going to affect our old law individuals that see the parole board along with the new people. So that automatically will make it retroactive. Since those people were sentenced before 1996, knowing you could be sentenced now and get charged and convicted with the old law if the crime occurred before 1996.
Right. So the part, how do you want to start this?
This page here we should probably read. Then go through the highlighted sections that I'm sure you highlighted.
Okay. The goals, I'm just going to read the very first page of the proposal. And anybody who would like a copy of it to read through it, we are able to email it to you. If you just inbox your email to
either myself, well, probably to myself, but if you just leave your email, if you want to leave your email in the comment section, you could do that. Or you could send us an email at fairtreatmentreform@gmail.com. Again, that is fairtreatmentreform@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get a copy.
Yes. So send it to fairtreatmentreform@gmail.com. Send your request through email, and we can email that to you. Our new secretary can do that.
That's not me.
Okay, so I'm going to read the first page of it. And it's goals for this reentry and parole release legislative initiative. This project is initiated by Fair Treatment Reform and Reentry membership in order to address a mirage of inadequate sections of the Ohio Revised Code as they pertain specifically to the Ohio Adult Parole Board. The unlimited and legally unbridled discretion of that board and the unequal results in criminal sentencing existing due to the parole board's unbridled discretion. This bill has been compiled from recommendations from members, prisoners, prisoner rights advocates, family, and friends of incarcerated prisoners, former parole board members, and by examining from recent changes and reforms in parole and sentencing laws already enacted in other states. Specific goals we seek to improve in Ohio Revised Codes are: number 1, immediate relief for old law prisoners sentenced prior to 1996 that are unjustly denied parole, who have no appeal process and no legal remedy in the courts. Number 2, establishment of an appeal process for prisoners who have met requirements for parole release yet denied parole without just cause. Number 3, reduction in the cost of prisons in Ohio by fair and just reduction in prison population and by an efficient and equally administrated parole system. Number 4, a system of review of the functioning of the Ohio Adult Parole Board. Number 5, revision of the Ohio Adult Parole Board structure to ensure oversight and fair representation of the interest of the families of both victims and offenders. Number 6, to specify clear and equitable legal justification for parole decisions to release the offender and to limit cause for which the parole board may return a prisoner to prison with a goal towards re-entry success and reduction in prison costs. Number 7, to make available to all prisoners, regardless of the date of sentencing, release from prison and equal opportunity to release options and community control sanctions. So that is the goals that we are seeking through this proposal.
We probably would want to read just this top part too.
Yeah. So this proposal is called the Fair Treatment Parole Reform Act. The purpose of this bill is to reduce prisons' populations, streamline the current structure of the Ohio Adult Parole Board, set reasonable expectations for parole for which an inmate can feasibly work towards during incarceration, to be rightly rewarded for rehabilitation, and to equalize parole opportunities, release remedies for all prisoners while maximizing the savings to the Ohio taxpayers. Ohio Revised Code governing the Ohio Adult Parole Board to be updated to revamp the board structure, improve efficiency, clarify decision-making powers, define the goals and basis of parole decisions, provide for appeals and oversight to decisions of the parole board, equalize parole remedy for all prisoners regardless of sentencing date, and reduce costs to the taxpayers to reflect changed duties of that board. And then one thing that I wanted to read also, because the old law was brought into this, I'll just read this. Ohio prisoners presently incarcerated are sentenced under 2 sentencing systems. 1, those sentenced for crimes committed prior to July 1st, 1996, and 2, those sentenced under laws effective after that date. Prisoners incarcerated for crimes committed prior to July 1st, 1996 were sentenced under laws which provided for indeterminate sentences, where sentencing judge set a minimum sentence to be served, and the law specified a maximum possible, such as 10 to 25 years. A reported 96% of Ohio law prisoners, of old law prisoners, entered plea bargains with the state of Ohio because they were informed that by law they could earn a parole with good prison behavior by serving 2/3 of their minimum sentence. Old law prisoners were eligible for parole after serving 2/3 of their minimum sentence unless the sentencing judge specified life without parole in their sentencing. If no minimum sentence was imposed, the law stipulated they were eligible for parole after serving 15 or 20 years, depending upon the crime of conviction. Thus, very few old law prisoners are eligible for parole at all. When the old law for sentencing was implemented in the early 1980s, it was the practice to grant parole at the first hearing to give prisoners a chance to prove that he had learned a lesson and could abide by the law. That was the original intent and operation of parole law in Ohio. However, under old law Ohio statutes, the parole board has complete unbridled discretion in granting the prisoner's release. Both state and federal courts and many parole legal challenges have denied any legal relief for the prisoner unjustly denied parole, finding the statutes make parole a gift that can be granted or withheld for any reason or no reason at all. Even if a prisoner was sentenced to consecutive sentences under old law, she was eligible for parole after serving 15 or 20 years under ORC Chapter 5120-2. Prisoners sentenced under laws enacted since 1996 suffer the same predicament with no legal right to parole and subject to unbridled parole board discretion. It is estimated that approximately as many as 3,000 to 4,000 Ohio State prisoners remain incarcerated in prison that are convicted of crimes and sentenced under old law, but all but those sentenced to a specific sentence of life without parole are therefore eligible for parole. These prisoners are now costing up to 3 times as much as younger prisoners to incarcerate due to age, medical costs, per national cost of incarceration statistics. Many prisoners denied parole have worked diligently at rehabilitation and programming efforts, are elderly, dying, suffer many medical conditions, expensive to the state, have aged long past criminal intentions, and even the ability to commit crimes, yet are denied paroles while having served many years past parole eligibility. Gay Lisa said, isn't this like the Lane decision?
A little bit, but the Lane decision, which is still in effect, but they didn't use it. I think they took back a few people, but I think only 2 people, to my knowledge, that actually was released due to the Lane decision, and I was actually part of that, and of course I didn't get a parole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're one of the few people that I know that even heard of the Lane decision.
So I think a lot of people don't understand that there is 2 laws in the Ohio prison right now. Do you want to explain the 2 laws?
Sure. I believe it was in 1995 that actually the law took effect, called Truth in Sentencing. But that's when it was passed. But I think it took effect in, I think it's April of 1996, which was called Truth in Sentencing. Everyone it was supposed to be tougher on crime. Anybody that was sentenced after that date would get flat time, which, like myself, I would have done 6 years under the new law. I did 25 under the old law. The only ones that it would be the same would be those that are doing life sentences. But those sentenced before 1996, every single person had to see the parole board. You might have had 3 to 15, 6 to 15, 10 to 25, or life, and every one of them had to see the parole board. But when they came out with Truth in Sentencing Act, we all filed a lawsuit with Norm Surek, an attorney, that gave us so many promises. We told everybody we were going home. And of course, 25 years later, we're still sitting there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of other attorneys tried to form lawsuits to jump on that bandwagon. They thought it was going to be an easy lawsuit to win, to put everybody under the same law. At one time, we had actually 3 laws. One that expired in, I think, 89, but there's still people that was locked up for that one. Then you had the semi-new law, then now you have the real new law. And I'm not sure what they're going to come up with next, but you really can't have 2 laws. It's too confusing. If the new law inmates will fight with the old law inmate who has to see the parole board, the old law inmate's the one that's going to suffer. Mm-hmm. The new law inmate after 1996 will automatically go home.
Yes, and that's a huge issue right now in the prisons. Rebecca said Jeff has had 5 flops 5 years at a time. He has now done 26 years. He is old law. My husband's old law too. He's had 2 flops, 1 8, and this last one in August was 6 years. Right. He's been in 26 years. Yeah.
And for those that don't know what flops are, I think most of you do.
It's continuation.
Right. It's basically giving them more time, and it's just an unfair practice that the parole board uses.
Mm.
Hi, Nancy. I
don't know why I'm having a hard time seeing tonight.
Here.
Seriously.
Oh, I can't use them.
Oh my dear Lord.
Can you see?
I can't see anything.
Oh. I told you she was
You
blind.
never have to worry about me stealing your glasses.
I should have my hearing aids next week.
Cindy said they gave... Oh, Lord. I'm sorry if I'm not getting everybody's here. These are going kind of fast. They gave mine 2 in a review, and then full board gave him 3 and can't go back till 2021. Advocating Together said, hi, Jim. Sorry I'm late. I don't know who that is. Might be Terry.
Yeah, I would assume it's Terry. But Terry usually uses
Oh,
the
now it
first
says
treatment.
Terry's watching. She likes to come in incognito.
Yeah, she can't hide. We already know who it is.
So, is there any other questions? Let me see if I can go back here. Sorry, guys. Oh, Nancy is under Advocating Together. I thought I saw somebody ask a question.
We'll try to answer them afterwards in the comment section if we don't get to everyone.
Jerry said the whole system uses the words discretion, which means nothing.
Jerry's right.
Yep. So Nancy's in Advocating Together and Terry is in Fair Treatment Reform and
Terry
Reentry.
just changed to that, so we couldn't see her.
We know who you guys are. We're on to you. Mm-hmm. And we do have a parole committee, an active parole committee that we have. If you are interested in being on that parole committee, then let James or I know and we can add you. We are just asking that you be active.
And we have a
meeting tonight out right after this around 7:30 or 7.
7:30, I think.
So, okay, Lisa said, I know a lot about old law. I was on Sarek lawsuit.
Yeah, I was too. He came to Grafton. We were one of the first groups that he came in there. Myself, John Peters, and a bunch paid. I think it was $250. And oh boy, did we have the hopes that we were going home.
I bet. We thought my husband was going to get paroled in August, and wow.
Yeah. Your husband, John Peters, we thought half the people that didn't get paroled would. Then the ones that got paroled, we never thought they would.
She said Bev helped her.
Bev,
she's the one who did our proposal.
Yep, she's outstanding too. She's our legislative aide. Just like they have them in the State House, she's ours.
And we are also looking for people to volunteer their time to be in committees for our organization. We are trying to get that going. So if anybody has some extra time and they want to be a part of one of our committees that we haven't quite came up with yet.
Right, I let the board handle that.
But Nancy and I are going to be putting all that together here within the next few weeks. So
another thing,
Janine said, hey, Candy and James.
Another thing too is if your church or civic group would like us to come out and speak on our proposal or our organization, please let us know. We're willing to do that. We need to get the word out, and if we don't start networking with people, if we don't start reaching out to people and say we need help, we can't win this battle.
Let's see. Jerry Vaughn said, "Do you know of Attorney Wilford in Columbus? I
Yes.
understand he does get involved in rewriting some of these laws."
He's didn't seem like he's interested. He said he doesn't get involved too much in legislation. He helps the inmate. Also, remember this too: if we get laws changed where people are going to get paroled when they should, these inmates aren't going to need attorneys neither. So it's going to put a lot of attorneys out of work. So I really wonder how many of them want laws to change.
Mm-hmm. Fair Treatment Reform and Reentry said Wilford doesn't do anything like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I'll keep my comments to myself.
So is there anything else that you want to go over in this?
I hope
Some
people
of the major
realize
points.
how vital this proposal is. As our population is aging, 55 and above, they're starting to cost more and more on medical. The families are dying off.